Deja vu. I've just been in this place before, higher on the street, and I know it's my time to go. Calling you, and the search is a mystery. Standing on my feet, it's a hub when I try to be me. Wow! Hi. Welcome. This is exactly how I feel right now talking about BcacheFS. I feel like I have made this video at least 4 times already. Not this specific video, but somehow I've talked about BcacheFS in at least 3 or 4 separate videos, and it feels like it's been the same conversation every time, but it hasn't been. Somehow, I don't understand this. I don't know how a project has been threatened to be pulled from the Linux kernel this many times, and it hasn't happened. Back during the 6.13 cycle, there was COC action taken against the developer. They were temporarily banned from that dev cycle, and it's still just going. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if Ken Overstreet maybe has dirt on Linus Torvalds. I don't know if they happen to be good buddies from a long time ago. I don't know how we're still talking about this and how Linus is still threatening to pull the project. Now, from my perspective, things have been quiet for the past couple of months. I don't think I missed anything. Some people have said that maybe some little things happened here and there and I didn't make videos on them. I didn't see them. But that is until the 6.16 development cycle, or better yet, the release candidate part. You know, the part where the feature introduction is done and we are focusing on stability and bug fixes and things like that. The features, they either come earlier or in the next window. So here we have a patch set sent by Kent Overstreet. Git pull BcacheFS fixes for 6.16 RC3. So it's not even RC1. It's not like, oh, you barely missed the merge window, anything like that. No, we are multiple release candidates into 6.16. A release candidate, for anyone who's unaware, is a candidate for releasing. This is a potential version that is going to be the version that is shipped. This is where we care about dealing with stability. Now, it starts off with bug fixes. Hey, we have some fixes here and there. Oh, there's some regressions we're dealing with. All this stuff. All this is good. This is exactly what should be in a patch during this segment. New option. Journal rewind. This lets the entire file system be reset to an earlier point in time. Note that this is only a disaster recovery tool, and right now there are major caveats to using it. Discards should be disabled in particular, but it successfully restored the file system of one of the users who was bit by the subvolume deletion bug and didn't have backups. I'll likely be making some changes to the discard path in the future to make this a reliable recovery tool. Now, this is a great change. I don't see any problem with it. The only problem is when the change is being submitted. If he had just waited until the 6.17 merge window where you submit features for the kernel, there would be no issues, no drama, we wouldn't even be talking about it because that would be the time to submit features. RC3 is not feature time. Linus rightfully responds, I don't know if very annoyed is the term you would use. I think it's more like defeated and tired of dealing with this. You seem to have forgotten what the point of a merge window was again. I kind of have lost count of how many times he has done this. It's got to be 3 that I've made dedicated videos about, but probably closer to 10. We don't start adding new features just because you found other bugs. I remain steadfastly convinced that anybody who uses BcacheFS is expecting it to be experimental. They had better make the RC fixes be pure fixes. Just so we're clear, Linus is not asking for any additional work to be done. He's not arguing about how the code should be approached, about specific things that he's doing with the patches. Literally, all he is asking is respect the merge window times. During the RC period, only submit your bug fixes. Outside of the RC period, then you can submit your features. Just wait. like a couple of weeks, and then we'll be in feature time again. The features will still exist in your code base. You can just submit them later. Now, of course, Kent can't just admit he screwed up again, doing the same thing again. I don't know how we're doing this again. And it's to rehash old discussions that we've seen again and again and again. The goal is to get users code that works. Is it not? Absolutely. So submit the bug fixes during the bug fix time and the features during the feature time. That's why the window's there. Like, literally the reason why the window's there is so people can focus on the thing to focus on. And it can't be a Kent post without trashing on other file systems. There are a lot of people who've been burned by BcacheFS. I don't know who those people are. I've even been seeing more and more people in recent discussions talking about unrecoverable file systems with BcacheFS. The last one has been a surprise to me, and I don't think it's saying anything to do with the quality of the code, but it honestly should serve as a wake-up call as to how much is falling through the cracks and how badly we've been failing. So let's throw all the kernel development window rules to the wind, because that's somehow going to fix that problem, I guess. There are still a lot of people who don't want to move off of ext4, and I can't really blame them. If you go looking, you won't find those stories about BcacheFS, except from me, when I'm telling people what to look out for. Well, a good reason why you're not going to find those stories for BcacheFS is no distros ship it by default, and anybody who uses BcacheFS is explicitly going into BcacheFS knowing what it is, which is frankly not that many people to begin with. And that's because of a lot of hard work, and because I'm dead set on not repeating past mistakes. I know he's talking about file system development here, but like, we are literally talking about repeating past mistakes in the present, like, in the video right now. I actively hunt down bug reports, and I frequently tell people, I don't care if you think it's a hardware issue or PEBCAC. It's the file system job to not dilute data. Get me the info I need, and I'll get it sorted and get it working again. Awesome. Great. That's the goal here, delivering something that users can trust and rely on. I'm not seeing that you get that. Linus does get that. All he is asking is respect the merge window times. All you have to do is not submit features during the release candidate alongside your bug fixes. That is the only ask. And the rest of the replies from Kent is basically just him arguing why he should be above the rules and why it's so important that we don't follow the rules right now. There is a time and a place for rules. That time is right now. And there's a time and a place for using your head and exercising some common sense and judgment. I am the one who's responsible for making sure that BcacheFS users have a working file system. That means reading and responding to every bug report and keeping track of what's working and what's not in fs/BcacheFS. Not you and not Linus. There's no need for any of this micromanaging, which is what this has turned into. All it's been doing is generating conflict and drama. Do I need to say it again? Do I need to say it again? Literally, the only issue is you not following the merge window times. Nothing else is a problem here. No one's even rejected the changes, rejected the patches, right? Like, nobody's saying that these patches are bad and shouldn't be in the kernel. It's just not the time for them. That's later. But here's the thing. If BcacheFS is still so unstable that you need to break kernel rules every single time just to get patches included, it shouldn't be upstreamed yet. It's not ready to be upstreamed if it's that crucial to make changes. I do want to highlight this response from Theodore Tso, which I will never pronounce correctly. I apologize. I don't know how to make that sound. Kent, the risk, as always, of adding features after the merge window is you might introduce regressions. This is especially true if you're making changes to relatively sensitive portions of any file system, such as journaling. The rules around the merge window is something which the vast majority of the kernel developers have agreed upon for well over a decade, and is Linus's responsibility to enforce those rules. If, as you say, BcacheFS is experimental and no sane person should be trusting the data on it, then perhaps this isn't urgent. On the flip side, perhaps if you're claiming that people should be using it for critical data, then perhaps your care for users' data safety should be revisited. Honestly, I think my favorite part is Linus didn't even respond to the thread. after the first comment. He's just... I think he's aware that no amount of discussion with Kent is gonna change anything anymore. So just say your piece and go about the rest of your day. No point wasting any more time here. Now, I think this response from Kent is by far my favorite. I also need to add that this kind of drama and these responses to pull request, second-guessing technical decisions, not what this is at all. This is second-guessing a timing decision, outright trash talk, which you do in all of your own comments, have done an incredible amount of damage, and I think it's time to make you guys aware of that since it's directly relevant to the story of this pull request. I've put a lot of work into building a real community around BcacheFS because that's critical to making it the rock-solid, dependable file system for everyone that I intend it to be. Building a community where people feel free to share observations, bug reports, and where people trust that those will be acted on responsibly. Responsibly by submitting them during the wrong window where you should only be submitting bug fixes. That all gets set back whenever drama like this happens. Last time the case folding bug fix pull request ignited a whole Vi versus Emacs holy war. Every time this happens, the calm, thoughtful people pull back, and all I hear from are angry, dramatic voices. That was actually a legitimate technical discussion about whether or not case folding file systems are a good thing to be doing or not. That was actually a really good and really interesting discussion. That is a technical discussion that had to happen. This is not that, though. More than that, I lost a hire because of Linus's constant every other pull request. I'm thinking about removing BcacheFS from the kernel. It turns out, smart, thoughtful engineers with stable jobs become very hesitant about leaving those jobs when that happens, and that's all their co-workers are seeing. Have you maybe thought about why Linus keeps saying he's going to remove BcacheFS? Why is that not happening with any other file system? RiserFS being the clear exception. Why is that not happening with XFS or ButterFS or ext4? What are they doing different that is making Linus not want to remove them, not even really care they exist? They just do their own thing over in their parts of the kernel. Could it be that they are actually following the kernel rules? Could it be that for years now, you have been openly ignoring kernel development rules and then gloating about it in the Linux kernel mailing list and then getting surprised every time Linus says he's gonna pull the file system because clearly you don't want to be in the kernel? Now let's move over to the next RC, 6.16 RC4. Per the maintainer thread discussion and precedent in XFS and ButterFS for repair code in RCs, journal rewind is included again. Basically, nothing changed. It is the same pull request that was made before that Linus already said, hey, stop that. And this time Linus has something very different to say. You've seen angry Linus, you've seen annoyed Linus, but have you seen defeated Linus, where he's just done and does not want to deal with this person any longer? I have pulled this, but also per that discussion, I think we'll be parting ways in the 6.17 merge window. You made it very clear that I can't even question any bug fixes, and I should just pull anything and everything. Honestly, at that point, I don't really feel comfortable being involved at all, and the only thing we both seemed to fundamentally agree on that discussion was we're done. And I totally get it, right? If you've been dealing with the same thing over and over and over again for years now, there has to come a point where you just say, well, enough's enough. I guess we actually are going to do it, and we are going to pull it from the kernel. I will believe it when I see it. Because again, this is not the first time Linus has said this. But if it does happen this time, I'm sure Kent's going to have something to say about it. And I don't know about then, but he has something to say right now. Linus, I'm not trying to say you can't have any say in BcacheFS. Not at all. I positively enjoy working with you when you're not being a dick, but you can genuinely be impossible sometimes, a lot of times. When BcacheFS was getting merged, I got comments from another file system maintainer that were pretty much great. We finally have a file system maintainer who can stand up to Linus. How's that one? How's that one going for you? And having been on the receiving end of a lot of venting from them about what was going on, and more that I won't get into, I don't want to be in that position. Now, Linus isn't stupid. He knows the game at this point. He knows exactly how Kent operates. For anyone who hasn't seen the prior videos, basically what happens is there'll be this big scuffle. Linus will say, we're going to pull this from the Linux kernel. And then Kent's going to say, well, you know, I feel bad about some of the things I've been doing. And then for like 2 or 3 months, he's going to be a good boy. And then go back to doing exactly the same thing with exactly the same arguments. Like I said, all I've been wanting is for you to tone it down and stop holding pull requests over my head as the place to have that discussion. You have genuinely good ideas and you're bloody sharp. It is fun getting shit done with you when we're not battling, but you have to understand the constraints people are under, not just myself. The constraint is either meet the merge window or wait till the next one. That's the constraint you're under. That is the thing that is the catalyst of this entire discussion. It's not some matter of making sure your code is perfect, not doing certain things, making sure it's ready for this merge window, or never at all. It's just wait till the time to submit the right code. At this point, I will be genuinely surprised if Linus sticks to his word and actually, you know, is done with Kent in 6.17 or pulls the file system. He's said it so many times, I just don't believe it at this point. If it happens, though, you know where I'll be. So, if you like a look into the fun that is the Linux kernel, go like the video and let me know your thoughts down below. If you like the video, go like the video. If you really like the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon, subscribe to the Liberapay, linked in the description down below. That's going to be it for me, and the fun times never stop.
Something like this.